Welcome back into Ash Talk, everybody. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I'm Jake alongside Hayden, and wow, with just a crazy weekend in sports last weekend, and we are going to get ready for another. We're going to get ready to do it all over again.
All over again, baby.
It's going to be very exciting. We're going to have your pigskin prognosis later on in the show. We're going to be talking about our Take It to the Banks. Those are our hot takes for the weekend. And but first, what we always do, take a little gander at what we're smoking today.
Well, we're back in the Gurkha family.
Shocked.
Again, he's shocked.
You're
He's
smoking
shocked.
the entire line.
Every single Gurkha out there, I will be reviewing. This week, I've smoked this before. It's called the Gurkha Chateau de Privé. Depends on where you're from. Prive. So the Gurkha Chateau de Privé. That's what I'm going to call it today. It's a medium smoke. I feel like I'm always in the medium range. I appreciate a medium, but I'm going to go dark probably next week. I think I'm going to go the Gurkha Beast.
Okay.
But
which I reviewed a couple shows ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to
that'll
see.
be a fun review.
That is a full cigar. Let me tell you. If you want a lot of flavor,
That's what you
and
want.
a heavy cigar, get the Gurkha Beast. You won't be disappointed.
Absolutely. So, Gurkha family again. They're a great cigar. Definitely a go-to brand for most smokers. I'll let you know kind of how it goes. So far, so good. Like I say, and start off in every podcast. I always get started early. I'm just excited to get talking and start gumming this stick here. So got to be really careful with the words that I choose while we're here on the podcast because that could have came off wrong. But yeah. So Gurkha Chateau de Privé. That's what I'm calling it. Okay, Privé. What are you smoking over there while I'm just bombing?
I was waiting for you to ask what I was smoking.
Just
But I
bail me
just
out
watched
here.
you just. No, I'm actually smoking a Fuente Don Carlos.
Ooh, classic.
It's a Dominican blend with a Cameroon wrapper, and like you, I mean, it's a medium cigar. I have smoked this before, but I haven't smoked it in a long time, so I'm really excited. Got this off Foltz again. It was part of a sampler pack, a lot like yours. So yeah, I'm pumped to see where this goes. Just because I haven't had it a long time.
Yeah,
That happens sometimes where it's just like, oh yeah, that's
there it is.
it's good. Yeah, it's good to go back. So
Little nostalgia, maybe.
little nostalgia, but like I said last week, I mean, it's like Fuentes they're so consistent.
Yeah,
That's what I like about Fuentes is that you're not going to get any real like bad cigars. There's always a cigar out there, and just the way they feel, the way they're packed, the way they're rolled, it's always consistent, always good. So
yeah.
I didn't know if I was going to bring this up or not, but I'm just going to go ahead and bring it up. It's hard to do a show, especially after a big presidential election, so I'm sure some of you are tuning in to either get away from it. Some of you are tuning in and you're just ecstatic. It's kind of the elephant in the room, I guess.
It is.
But what are your thoughts after a big presidential election? It's hard to stay in the middle, but yet at the same time acknowledge what happened.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you kind of throwing me out there to give my thoughts on the election.
I'll give my thoughts first.
I'll go. I think this was a very important election. I think it really will have a huge impact on our future, and specifically even the younger generation. So what I've liked up to this point is there's not been lots of rioting. There are people who are disappointed. There are people who are celebratory. But it seems as though the outcome, which many would have thought, given who's won, there could have been more problems. However, it seems as though things have been pretty quiet. I think people are kind of settling in that Donald Trump is our president.
Yep.
At the end of the day, I think it's just our roles as American citizens to rally. not necessarily around a candidate, but around making our country better.
Yeah.
And coming together as a country and moving forward together and not in this divide.
Mm-hmm.
My prayer is someday that we can cross aisles again. Because right now there's just this tension and this divide among the two main parties. And man, if we can find a way to cross the aisle again, I think that really will help make America better.
Mm-hmm.
And so at the end of the day, I'm looking forward and I am hopeful for the future. Again, there are things that we agree with, things that we don't agree with, but we are going to look through the lens of optimism and believe for nothing but the best for the new administration and pray for all those affected who may not enjoy the outcome.
Right.
Totally get that. And it's fair to feel those ways. I totally understand the feeling. But no, you're not alone. And no, you got a friend in me. You got a friend in me.
I totally agree with you. And we're not going to spend a ton of time on this, and Ash Talk doesn't endorse anybody for presidents. We don't really, we're not an election politics show.
Nope.
But I will say, yeah, I mean, it's been nice to see that there's no plans for riots. Again, we're far off from the inauguration, and we've seen what happened in 2016 and obviously in 2020. So we're still far away.
Well, so far, so good.
So far, so good. There's been some people freaking out on one side, and which I understand, because I mean, if your party loses, I guess that's, I understand that. I kind of liked one side saying, okay, we're going to do a peaceful transition. We're not going to challenge anything, which is what I grew up with. I mean, even with Gore and Bush, and that was a tricky election too, but there was still a peaceful transfer. And then Bush to Obama. So it's kind of like America's kind of going back to that a little bit. And I think part of that is because I think we've seen very rarely do we get an election where both candidates you can line up side by side and say, okay. And again, I mean, if your vote, if this determination of the election you feel is going to change your life drastically, then I feel bad for you, because it shouldn't, it shouldn't. And so I agree. I think we're trying to come back together, that we can respectfully lose or respectfully win.
Yeah.
And like you said, I mean, Trump will be our president. There's things I like. There's things I don't like. There's things I like on the other side. There's things I don't like on the other side.
Yep.
It just is what it is. But we're gonna move on. If you're tuning into this show, just know we're going to be fine. We're going to be fine. The reason this
Ash Talk's going nowhere.
Ash Talk's going nowhere. The reason this country is so great is because
this right here,
the founders set it up to be a republic for checks and balances and checks and powers, giving the ultimate power to the people to vote in, but also giving the checks of the congressional, the presidential, and the judicial. So there's 3 branches of government. That's what people need to remember. Again, we don't elect kings. This is why the country has lasted as long as it has, with the Bill of Rights and the Constitution. So just know, if you're really happy, that's cool. If you're really sad, you're going to be fine.
You're going to be okay.
Anyway, we got a lot of sports to cover this
Lots
week.
of sports. Lots of great things ahead.
Let's talk about some college football, like we usually do, to start the show. Real quick, that we'll go back and we'll say both of us last week went 0 for on our Take It to the Banks. You had Michigan beating Oregon, which that did not even come close.
Well, you know what? There was a touchdown that wasn't a touchdown. Now, would they have scored? Yes.
They lose like 40-10 or something like that.
Hey, man, I would say that anybody who watched the game would say, man, one mistake here or there. If we didn't, we're in the game. Were we going to beat them? No. They're just way faster than we are. But we were in the game. I actually felt pretty optimistic after after the game. So we made some adjustments at halftime, and hey, that's the first time all year that we've been able to do that. So
Baby steps.
that's it. We'll take
I got really close on my take to the bank. My take to the bank last week was that Josh Allen was going to score 4 touchdowns.
I know.
And he scored 3.
3, of course.
So, and he had one called back that he ran in. So, did I get it? No, but I got a lot closer. And so we're both 1 for 2.
1 for 2.
It's like whatever you do, I do. So,
Yep.
We'll have our take it to the banks later on in the show. When I went 1-4 in my pigskin prognosis, so I was over there just being high and mighty and tooting my own horn, and then I went 1-4 last week on my picks against the spread.
What's the pigskin prognosis?
Picks against the spread. The pigskin prognosis is our NFL 5 games picks against the spread. We pick 5 games every week.
Yep.
We keep an overall score of how we're doing for the season, but we also just recap, how we did the previous week. Hopefully you didn't take any of my advice from this previous week as I went 1-4.
Yeah.
You're going to be picking later on in the show for our NFL picks against the spread.
No, you're picking.
Am I picking?
I'm going to let you pick.
Why do I have to pick every week? I thought we just interchanged it. Or am I just...
Because I have butchered this part already before. And
that's right.
Nervous and insecure.
For those of you that don't know, Hayden has no idea what points mean against the spread.
I'm trying my absolute best. I'm trying my best out there.
I'm going to remind you again, just for the umpteenth time. If the team is showing negative points, that means
they're going to win by that point.
That means that's the points they need to win by.
Yeah.
So if it's that or Ravens and Colts and Ravens are -3, that
they got to win by 3.
They need to win by more than 3.
Yeah.
It's plus, that means they're going to lose
by
that
3 or less.
Means they're getting points. So if it's Ravens +3, that means they can lose, but they can't lose by more than 3.
We'll just kind of walk together with that. We're gonna walk hand in hand.
Okay. Anyway, so I guess I'm picking now permanently.
He's picking.
So
he's gonna pick those. I'll handle a little bit of college. We're just gonna go straight up. Whole spread thing. You know what?
I like the spread because it keeps it even. Now we're getting later on in the season, and if the Panthers are playing the Chiefs, why even talk about the game? But
why even have there?
That's true.
At this point,
you know what I mean?
Too. We're good.
That's true too.
We're good.
Send the Panthers to the Big Ten, man.
Come on, we'll take them.
You take everybody else.
Come on. I know. Yeah, we're taking that the lead. So come on in.
So we're going to be talking about that a little bit later on in the show. Okay, going back into college, we got a little bit off track. Going back into college, some big games. We got the big game that I'm personally going to be definitely sitting down and just watching is Georgia at Ole Miss. It's going to be a really good game. I think Ole Miss is like 17th in the country. Georgia, obviously, on that resurgence.
Yep.
What are your thoughts? You want to talk about college ball? Take me through this game.
Okay, so this game is at Ole Miss.
Mm-hmm.
Ole Miss has got a hell of a quarterback in Jackson Dart. They are a spoiler team.
Mm-hmm.
They're Alabama's Achilles heel. They can win the big games. They have showed up and they can win. I think this team is I think this team has enough talent to pose a really big threat to Georgia. If they can run the ball, if you can run the ball against Georgia, that'll give you opportunity to open up the pass. And their secondary is not very good. It's hurt them all year. It's that front. It's that front seven that people aren't able to penetrate. But
the only way you can beat them is if you're making them guess.
Right.
So if you're down 2 touchdowns, they're going to play back. They can go into coverage. They can play sideline to sideline very, very well.
Yep.
I've obviously
probably the best in the nation.
Yeah, I mean, as you know, I've watched a lot of Bulldog football. So yeah, you're absolutely right. You're 100% correct. You have to mix in. You got to maybe I'm not sure if Ole Miss is more of a RPO or
Jackson
wait,
Dart.
okay.
He's a
So it's a little bit of RPO. If you can get that RPO and make them guess, just to hold them there for a second, maybe you can exploit that. But I totally agree. You have to keep it close, mix it up, and you might have a chance at the end.
Yep.
I've been so high on Ole Miss this year.
Yep.
But every single time they just kind of let you down. LSU, close game, lost. Kentucky should have beaten them, lost.
Yep.
And in that the fourth quarter of that Kentucky game, they just outplayed them. They outmuscled them.
Yep.
And so I feel like Ole Miss has the talent. It's a 2-loss team though, so it's kind of like they're kind of at a crossroads in their season right now. If they can beat Georgia, I think that it's on like Donkey Kong. If they lose to Georgia, the team knows the season's probably over for a chance at a championship.
Right.
So it's a little bit.
Keep your eyes on Carson Beck. He's
Yeah.
been extremely rattled. He's made some really poor decisions. Him going into a rowdy atmosphere at Ole Miss, they are going to do everything they can to throw him off. I'm calling it right now. I don't know if it's a big enough thing that I want to say that could be a take it to the bank. He will throw 2 touchdowns. Two interceptions. He's going to throw 2 interceptions. That
I would agree with that.
He doesn't. He appears as though he doesn't have the mental capacity to lock in a game and not make mistakes.
I just think he doesn't see the field well.
No.
I think he has talent. I think he has arm talent. I just don't think there's some people that just don't see the field well. It's kind of like, okay, if it's zone, you got to know where those linebackers are drifting and stuff like that. It's like he just avoids it. It's almost like when you're driving, right? You're focusing on the cars and stuff like that. Well, there's like a bike lane or a pedestrian cross. It's like you have to know where that stuff is.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's not what you focus on because you're ultimately just trying to drive the car, right? But you can't just not know where that stuff is.
Right.
And I feel like he just he doesn't see the field well. We both have not been really high on him, but the front seven of that defense is really good. If he can just manage the game, Georgia is a team where they're good enough. He just can't lose them the game.
Yeah.
And so for me, the key to this for Ole Miss, keep it close, keep the defense guessing. For Georgia, Carson Beck, don't throw the game away.
Don't throw the game away.
So yeah, we'll see. Who do you like in this?
I like Georgia by 12.
Georgia by 12.
By 12. I mean, this will make or break their season.
Yeah.
This will make or break Georgia's season. So they lose this, they don't go to the playoffs.
I don't think Georgia wins by 12. I think Ole Miss knows their season's on the line, and they're gonna.
I hope so.
They're gonna empty the tank on this game.
I hope they lay it all out. I'm going Georgia by 12.
Okay.
Georgia does nothing but.
There's something I really want to talk about, and we always seem to drift back to Michigan games somehow because you're just a huge Michigan fan, which is fine. But I want to talk about Michigan, but more importantly, who their opponent is this week. They're traveling to Indiana. We talked about Indiana last week. They're like, hey, if we can get by this Michigan State team, table set.
Yeah.
Table set for us to get into the playoff. And they went into Michigan State and just beat the absolute piss out of Michigan State. 47-10.
Yep.
That's what I wanted to see.
Yeah, they were down 10-0. Michigan State jumped up quick.
Yep. And they just clamped down.
Oh my gosh.
They just clamped down.
Clamped right down.
What are your thoughts on this game? I mean, you obviously really thought Michigan would get. It's almost like we're just waiting for Michigan to get to that point, and it's like, okay, we're late in the season now. Maybe we're just a 500 football team. Is that how you feel on Michigan?
I don't want to feel that.
I know you don't, but I look at what you're looking at. I mean,
with Davis Warren or Warren Davis, I always get it messed up. He looked good I mean, he looked like a pretty good passer last week. He's coming along. Some receivers like Morris has stepped up, obviously getting the ball to Colson Loveland. So that was a big help. I think this game is going to be a lot closer than what people think. I don't. Indiana to me still really hasn't played anybody.
Yeah, but here's the difference.
So we're gonna find out.
No,
Not that I'm saying Michigan is a somebody, but I am saying that you better be careful because they can sneak one by you. They're pissed. They know in their mind this season.
you can be mad all you want though if you don't have the talent. It doesn't matter.
Hey, I think the game's gonna be a lot closer than what people are saying.
I got Indiana by 2 touchdowns.
I got Indiana by, I don't even know. We'll go 6. Indiana by 6. But I'm pulling for Michigan. And I'll say this: Indiana ain't the best team in the country.
I have
Not even close.
I have no loyalty to Michigan. I hope Indiana beats the crap out of
Thanks a lot.
them. And I'll tell you why. Because Michigan ain't going anywhere this year.
They're not. Neither is Indiana.
They're the 8th team ranked in the country, and they're undefeated.
They've played nobody, and they're going to play somebody like Texas or someone like that in the playoff, and they're going to get beat bad.
The difference is that
Mark
they're
my words, write it
beating
down.
the crap out of the teams. That's the difference, is that their Big Ten opponents, they are crushing. That's what you got to see. Now, if all these games were like 1-score games and stuff like that, I would see your point. But Indiana, I want an Indiana-Ohio State game, which we'll get in a couple weeks. But I would love to see Indiana in the playoff take on a Texas, take on a Georgia. They're a more formidable. Okay, we talked about this with Iowa State. We talked about this with SMU. We talked about this. Okay, those aren't a big conference school. You have a big conference school that hasn't been successful in a long time in Indiana that are crushing teams. This is the formidable opponent that you want to see take on a Texas or a Georgia. It's going to be a far more interesting, in my opinion, because maybe Indiana is just that freaking good.
No, they'd lose by 3 touchdowns.
No.
Yeah.
If you want to tell me Iowa State, if you want to tell me a school that has less recruiting capabilities, but Indiana, it's still a big conference school. Iowa State isn't facing the Michigan States and stuff like that, and they lost to Texas Tech, like we talked about last week, that was going to be interesting. 5-3 Texas Tech. Let me tell you right now, Indiana would beat the hell out of Texas Tech by 2.5 touchdowns.
Tell you what,
Iowa State lost by 3. I'm telling you, you can't separate the schools by the top 2 or 3. And then when a school that is in a legitimate conference like Indiana is 8 or 9-0 or whatever they are, and then say, no, they wouldn't either. I disagree with that.
I'll say this. If Indiana loses to Michigan,
They ain't going to lose.
Jake's going to do the podcast next week without a shirt on. And I'm telling you, it's in Michigan. It's cold. My hands are like brittle right now, and I'm doing this for you. He's going to do the podcast without a shirt if Indiana messes around and loses to Big Blue.
They ain't losing to Michigan.
It's happening.
They ain't losing.
Write it down. Next game.
They will not lose to Michigan. They will not.
I don't think so either, but if they do, you're going to freaking magic like this boy next week.
This is Ash Talk. This isn't OnlyFans. What else we got up?
I feel like I am the only fan of Michigan here.
Bama at LSU.
Huge game.
Big game for both teams.
This is a
make or break. Are you going to the playoff or are you just a Michigan?
Well, Bama's got 2 L's right now. So
they do.
But
they can still get in with two losses.
Maybe.
Or LSU could too.
Maybe. I'm excited about it. 2 high-flying teams. 2 teams that hate each other. I got LSU winning because they are going to Baton Rouge, I think. I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
So I got LSU winning. I'm just not as, and I'm assuming most of the college football world is not that up on Alabama right now.
Mm-hmm.
Not fair to Coach DeBoer. He's done a great job taking on that team, and he's an unbelievable coach, great winner. They're just not there. They are not the Alabama of old. They're very, very good. I would not want to play them, but they are beatable, and they've shown us that. And they're going to go to LSU, and they're going to get beat. Simple as that. They're going to get beat in LSU.
This is a game I wouldn't bet on and touch with a 10-foot pole just because I don't see how this isn't a one-score game. I would be shocked if one of these teams wins by more than one touchdown.
Right.
I would be.
It has like a win it by a field goal. Second.
This totally feels like a 23-20 type game.
Yep.
And this is why it's so fun. I keep going back to the playoff. This is why it's so fun, because both teams can still make the playoff. Both teams can still win a national championship. Alabama would be out. LSU would be on the outside looking in. Now this game still means a lot.
It does.
So, I agree with you. I like if I had to pick, I think it's like a 1.5 game too. I think and they're giving like LSU. You don't even know what the points mean. So you're just agreeing.
1.5 LSU minus 1.5.
If I gun to my head, I would take LSU.
Yep.
I would take LSU in this game.
Yep. Another interesting game. Vanderbilt and the University of South Carolina. Two teams that have messed teams up this year. Vanderbilt is a fun team to watch.
Yeah.
South Carolina is a fun team to watch. If I'm anybody in the SEC, I'm not looking forward to playing them. I don't care if you're Georgia. I don't care if you're Alabama. Knowing that one of those
there's so much energy in Vanderbilt.
Oh my gosh.
South Carolina is losing their minds from their win last week.
Oh my gosh.
I love this Vandy team. I really do. Oh, South Carolina, they are like the turd in the punch bowl when it comes to these SEC schools.
They're becoming a team that ruins the juggernaut.
Right. But that's what they almost live
for.
That's what they almost live for. South Carolina's like, we're not going to win a national championship, but we're going to screw your season.
That's right.
And it's like they take pride in it.
Right,
it's like
they do.
You talk to fans, some of my buddies are South Carolina, they're Gamecocks fans. It's like, we're not. We just like to ruin people's day.
Hey, like, you know what? Great. Let that be your identity and just smack teams.
And after
ruin seasons.
And after Vandy beat Bama, it's just been this just wave of emotion. Like, it went from, holy cow, we beat Alabama to, I think we're actually pretty good.
Right.
And so both these schools are so fun to watch, and they get to play each other. This is definitely a make a big pot of chili, cozy up on the couch, and just watch it.
Just enjoy it.
Just enjoy it. There's not going to be any playoff implications. There's not. This is like this is an old school college football game.
Yep.
Where it's just two fun teams playing each other and
slugging it out
and trying to get into a cool bowl game later on. And but the game's still important. But they're just fun schools to watch.
Yep, for sure.
Who do you think's going to win that game?
The game's in Nashville, so it's at Vanderbilt.
Yep.
Who I want to win is Vanderbilt.
Mm-hmm.
I do think the Gamecocks are going to win. Fun fact, I lived in Columbia. I went to, in 2008, 9, and 10, I went to every single Gamecock football game.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable culture, unbelievable fan base. There's nothing like the South Carolina Gamecock experience. So they're like a near and dear team to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I want Vandy to win simply because it's Vandy. They win like 3.5 games a year. And so to see them beat a USC after a big win in Alabama, like, hey, or not Alabama, but whoever it is they just beat.
A&M.
A&M. Gamecocks are going to win.
I like Vandy in this game.
Okay.
I like Vandy in this game, just like what you mentioned. It's at home. I think they're starting to believe that they're actually good. I think they think okay, we can beat anybody. South Carolina, because they're on the road and because you just had that huge win, sometimes there's a crash after the high, right?
Yep.
And so I think Vandy wins this game. And then you could see them. I mean, they beat South Carolina. You could see them climb 4 or 5.
They got 2 losses or 3.
I'm not sure. I think they got 2. I want to check this because
that's playoff implications. They would take it over Alabama because they beat Bama. I feel like they only have 2 losses.
Yeah, and they beat Auburn last week. Or I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was a big game.
And they barely lost to Texas a couple weeks ago. They lost by 3.
Yeah.
So
no joke. Vandy is no joke, my friends.
They lost to Missouri in overtime.
Yep. So what are they?
So they are. Let's see here. But no, did they really lose to Georgia State too? Man, you want to talk about a hot and cold team. How's your cigar, by the way?
It's great, man. Way to fill this time. All you gotta do is just type in.
I know, but I
record.
Vanderbilt football record.
Oh, Jesus, man.
Record. They are 6-3.
Hey, they have got 3 losses. Okay,
They're at 6-3, so they lost to Georgia State. That's such a weird. And that's why it's so fun. That's why it's so fun.
Yeah,
they lost to Georgia State, and then they almost took Texas to overtime.
Right, and beat Alabama.
So it's crazy. It's crazy. They're 6-3. They're 4-1 at home.
Yep.
So that's, South Carolina's 5-3. So they both have 3 losses, but. Yeah, like I said, there's no playoff implications.
No.
You could see how Vandy can beat anybody in the country.
Yeah, they can show up, man.
And South Carolina just beat one of the top 10 schools in the country last week. So,
yep,
it's gonna be fun.
Yep,
that's gonna be. I honestly look forward to that game more than the other 2 ranked games, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. It'll be a fun one to watch. No doubt about it. No doubt about it.
Any other games you want to go over?
We got a little list here. So what do we want to talk about? We want to hit a couple of what do you got? What's on there? It's important. Come on.
Okay. There's something you need to understand about Hay. He has an obsession, and I'm not going to say it's
Colorado, Texas Tech. Colorado's going to get beat.
Okay.
They're going to Texas Tech.
Let me finish. Sorry. He says he hates Coach Prime. I'm pretty indifferent. Like I'm very much neutral when it comes to Coach Prime. I'm very neutral when it comes to Coach Prime. Not like, which is rare because he's a very controversial figure on people who think he can coach, people that think he can't. You fall on the side of you don't. He's almost like Howard Stern back in the 90s when everybody didn't like him, or there's so many people that liked him, so many people that hated him, and more people that hated him listened to Howard Stern.
Yep.
That is you with Coach Prime, because you will stay up till 2 a.m.
I will stay
to watch Colorado football on the West Coast.
I will.
Because you can't stand him that much.
I can't. I want to see him lose, and it hasn't happened. They're probably one of the most fun teams to watch, though. I don't like them, but
which is so weird to me.
They are insanely fun to watch.
You can't stand Coach Prime, but you love Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders.
I do. They got another great receiver on their team. They're fun to watch, no doubt about it. I'll give Coach Prime love. He's turned the team around. He brought in a new defensive coordinator.
Sure, the whole school.
Defense is starting to kind of look good. They are going to get beat by Texas Tech. Too big of a stage. This is an SEC school, and so we'll find out this week. Like,
here's the problem I see with Colorado is that I feel like they're just finally starting to get a little bit, like, last year they shouldn't have even been ranked when they went to Oregon, but there was so much media and momentum and Coach Prime hype, and then they just got shellacked, and they ended up, I don't know, winning 4 games. They went 4-0, but then they lost like the rest of their games.
Yeah.
Which is weird because I feel like Coach Prime isn't going to be there longer than maybe a year or 2 after this year.
He'll leave after Shador leave, which is
Right,
You-
which is
I could
kind
see
of,
him
which
going.
is like, it's kind of disappointing because the whole reason you went to Colorado, the whole reason you said you went there is because you were trying to turn the program around and you were going to try to, do that. But like, it's like, okay, as soon as Shador leaves, then you're going to leave. It's kind of like you didn't really do anything. Like overall, like I look at record and I look at how good are your teams, and then from pro to college, I look how good is your recruiting.
Right.
NFL, I look how good is your drafting.
Right.
I mean, yeah, you can change the culture, but if you don't get wins, if you don't perform, it doesn't mean anything. So
Yeah.
what? You sold some more jerseys and sweatshirts and merch and stuff.
Right.
Cool.
Right.
But I want to see you win 10, 11 games. I truly hope that for Coach Prime. Like, I like, if you're going to turn around a school, I need to see you win. Same problem I have with PJ Fleck. You have to, all the rousing and great. We can talk about PJ another time, but which, yeah,
They're a good team. Yeah. Shout out to the goal.
great. Whatever. They got Rutgers this week.
They did.
Anyway, back to Coach Prime.
Go Pratt.
So it's a little bit disappointing because he's going to probably not be there. He's going to go to Florida State. He's going to go to Dallas. He's going to go somewhere. It'd be hilarious if the Cowboys draft Shador and Coach Prime goes and coaches him at.
Isn't he like he looked at by like Atlanta or something? Is that like a or is it LA? Where was it? I just saw some Oakland. Was it Oakland?
Oakland?
I think it's Las Vegas. I think it's Las
That would
Vegas.
be wild. That would be wild. But again, it's all hype. It's all hype. It's all hype. Go win games, man.
Yeah.
And now he's going to lose Shador. He's going to lose Travis. Yeah, it was fun for a little bit, but dude,
How are you going to replace those two?
you can't.
You're never going to replace.
No, not unless Coach Prime stays there, which I don't think he will after Shador leaves.
Florida State's going to
Anyway.
the offer.
Anyway, I think Texas Tech takes care of business. So
Burn your hand off.
I know. I had a little leaf coming up. This thing's just like ignited. I'm so fired.
He's fired up on
Hey, you want to see
Fired up.
that? That was Coach Prime. Just Anyway.
That's his coaching career. Won a couple of games at Jackson State, won 6 at Colorado, and we're moving on up, baby.
in the same way that you say PJ Fleck, you want to see him come take over a Michigan or something like that. I would like to see a Coach Prime take over either a pro team because the NFL is so balanced,
Never gonna happen.
or a top echelon Florida State or something like that.
Florida State can pretty much take anybody right now.
It's
They're
the
a joke.
so it's kind of the same thing with you and PJ, with me and Coach Prime.
Fair.
I root for Coach Prime. I don't not like him, but win some games, win some more games. But you already
games that count.
but you already know the light's at the end of the tunnel because your son's gonna get drafted and you're gonna bounce.
Yep.
If he doesn't, great, cool, but I don't think he will.
Yep. Take it to the bank. Coach Prime leaves after this year.
That's your take it to the bank.
No, it's you got to have something
Yeah,
for this week.
write it down.
Write it down. Remember this moment. Remember this moment.
What is your take it to the bank? Anything college related?
I don't know, man. Let me give it some more thought.
Here are your undefeateds, by the way. Talked about one-loss teams a little bit.
We did. Let's go to undefeateds. You got
Oregon, Miami, Indiana, go Hoosiers, Army, and BYU. Of those, yes, Oregon and Miami, they're in better conferences. Indiana, they're right there. Army and BYU, you said Army and BYU, they would get shellacked by Texas or Georgia. I can see that. Indiana, though, that's a different conversation.
I'd like to see them play Texas. I think that they might be able to play Texas well.
But that's my thing. Texas almost lost to Vanderbilt. You don't think
That's what I'm
Indiana can
saying.
beat them?
That's
What I'm saying.
As Texas is not as hot as they started off, even though they're a one-loss team, I think.
Georgia, yeah.
Texas is a one-loss.
Yeah, against Georgia.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, BYU and Army. Miami, again, they're
How fun would that be, though, to get if Army wins the rest of their games?
oh my gosh. They still don't get in the playoffs. It's like Florida State all over again.
I think you gotta throw them in.
And they're gonna play a freaking Ohio State. You know,
Yeah.
that's what's gonna happen. So, and
Navy's good too. Army-Navy game is gonna be.
Yeah, they're 7-1 or something like that.
Yeah, Navy's good. They lost to they got crushed by Notre Dame.
Yeah.
So that's what you expect that's gonna happen with Army.
Yep.
My thing is that everybody's like, yeah, as soon as they play these teams, they're gonna get crushed. Yeah, majority of the time they do. But sometimes there's teams out there, which I believe this Indiana team is, that they're just that good. And they can compete. Will they win the national championship? Probably not. But can they compete and beat somebody? Heck yeah.
I hope you're right.
That's why we play the games.
I literally hope you're right because I think it's cool what Indiana's doing.
Yeah.
It just takes a while for me to really buy it. It really does. They turn around and beat.
That's
Michigan
because
back
you're a
in
big
touchdowns.
school elitist.
I am. I'm an elitist.
And that's what I've noticed. I've noticed when you have fans of these big schools, Michigan, Ohio State, Alabama is the worst at this. It's like anybody that is not in the top 5 of recruiting are just beneath you.
That's
And
right.
It's like, that isn't how it always is. This isn't high school. I don't know. You got to give the small guy a chance. Got to give the underdog a chance.
100%. We just.
Sorry, I'm fired up about Indiana. I'm so fired up about Indiana right now.
Hey man, let's. I think it would be.
And they're like a Gopher rival.
Could you imagine if they ran the table, won it all? Could you imagine what that would do to that culture?
We're going to see by Ohio State.
Yeah, we'll find out.
We'll find out.
Because Ohio State's no.
But if they beat Michigan, this week, then they can play loose. Then they can. That's why I really want to see Indiana beat Michigan because if they lose this week against Michigan and then get blown out against Ohio State, they're out. In my book, if you lose to Michigan and then you go play Ohio State and you get blown out by 2 or 3 touchdowns, Indiana's done. Their season is they ain't getting
blown out by Ohio State.
I don't think so because I believe in my Hoosiers. I believe in my Hoosiers. But I'm saying if there's a
Google me.
What we were talking about, whether we want to see an Indiana take on Texas to just kind of see. We'll get that with Ohio State, but I want Indiana to play loose and play free because they're going to be tensed up if they lose against Michigan this week. Because then they know they have to perform well against Ohio State.
Yep,
the following week.
That's true.
So it'll be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else you want to cover in college?
Let's talk about the NFL.
Okay.
Let's talk about the NFL. I feel like we spent some time talking college. I feel like you've probably been eager.
You hit a nerve with it.
I did. I think it's fantastic. It's good to see. Good to see it. Here's something that Jake and I have talked about when it comes to when you compare college football and the NFL. Something that he brought up a while back that I've thought about a lot is college football. You pretty much have a definitive winner going into a game most of the time. Like, the Georgia is going to beat Wofford. Like, it's going to happen. You know what I mean?
But Wofford State.
Their marching band is fantastic.
Finish your thought.
But you have a definite winner. But you're going in the NFL, literally anybody can win on any given day. These are
any given Sunday. It's not any given Saturday. It's any given Sunday.
There is a true difference. Like, yeah, upsets happen and stuff like that in college football. That's what makes it fun. But it doesn't happen a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And you're gonna see this game coming on here in a little bit. The Bengals might mess around, and they might frickin' beat the Ravens.
Yeah, Bengals are hot right now.
But they're at the bottom of the league. They only got 4 wins, but that's the cool part about the NFL. Like, anybody can really win. Anybody can really win. Yeah, it's kind of exciting because you can bet, and a lot of times, Kansas City probably is going to win. Detroit probably is going to win, but maybe not.
The talent gap is so much less in the NFL compared to college.
Absolutely.
And it has to do with recruiting. I mean, these kids are 18, 19, 20 years old. They're not. I mean, when you're a paid professional, it's different.
Yep.
If you're down 20 points, you better perform. I mean, the NFL used to stand for not for long. That's because the average NFL 4 years. The average is like 3.5 years. Once you get drafted, like if you're in the top 5 rounds, the average NFL player lasts about 3 to 3.5 years.
Wow.
Otherwise, you're on a practice squad. You're trying to get back on a team. You're pretty much done. That's why they get paid a lot of money. But the talent gap is so big. The thing I look for in the NFL is where's the momentum, because you see so many momentum shifts. You see it sometimes in college, but the momentum shifts within game and then within the season is really big. It's kind of why I like the Bengals tonight, and they're about to kick off, Bengals and Ravens. I like the Bengals tonight. I think the Ravens are a better football team, but the Bengals are an ascending football team.
Yep. Which, by the way, they got sick uniforms today in their new helmet.
Yeah, they just kicked off. Just so you know, they just kicked off.
7-0 Bengals.
Okay.
Right now, right off the
I
bat.
didn't know that was the score.
Yeah, right off the bat.
Trust me, but I like the Bengals in this because I think the Ravens are going to go further in the playoffs. I think they're a better football team. But right now, the Bengals are the ascending football team, and that's why momentum is so important. And it's why star players are really important, because it's how quickly can you recapture that momentum on your side. Because, like we said, the talent margins are so slim. So much of it is belief and confidence. That's why players like Tom Brady, Joe Montana, they're so unique because they were able to capture the momentum. They weren't like in game.
Right.
Anyway,
we're excited.
I
love football.
Do you want to pick the games?
Nope. You are. Give me the paper.
It's right there. It's right there.
You're gonna pick the games.
Yep. Again, pigskin prognosis. 17-8. So we're right around that.
So yeah, we're 17-8.
Yeah.
Still pretty good though.
Yeah, we're right around that 60-70%. Again, 5 games this week, picks against the spread. Here we go.
Bengals, Ravens. They got Ravens at -5.5.
I took the Bengals. Points. Yeah, Bengals and the points.
Okay. We got Steelers and Commanders. They got the Commanders -2.5.
Commanders are at home.
Yes.
I'm gonna take the Commanders. I'm a big believer in Jade Daniels.
I am too. I think the world is. I think he has shown.
He's this year's CJ Stroud. He's last year's CJ Stroud.
Like him being able to come in and assimilate so quick and execute on such a high level as a rookie has been so fun to watch, because I thought the verdict was out. You know what I mean? A lot of these running quarterbacks, these run and gun, flashy quarterbacks in college, they don't always fare well.
A lot of people thought he was a system-type quarterback from LSU because they ran so many bubble screens and stuff like that. This dude can throw the ball.
He can throw the ball.
So I'm a big believer in Jaden Daniels. I think they have enough weapons there to keep him going. They just have a swagger too right now.
Yeah.
Like
confidence.
Yeah, their offensive coordinator totally forgot his name. Old head coach for the Cardinals. Anyway, their offensive coordinator, who used to be a head coach for the Cardinals.
Head coach.
They're just playing with swagger right now. They feel like they can beat anybody. So I'll take the Commanders.
Okay. I feel like I know who that is. That's gonna tick me off.
I have to look it up because I'm gonna literally lose my mind if I don't.
Yeah.
And I'm sure people are.
I know who it is. I'm trying to remember his name. While you're doing that, how's your cigar?
It's actually really good. This is going to be a highly reviewed cigar.
Wow.
He's just wow.
Excited.
We're going to make some burgers here in a minute.
So I've got like a lot of great things going on in my head.
Cliff Kingsbury. Thank you.
There we go. Kingsbury.
Cliff Kingsbury.
Nice guy. One hell of a model American. That's what I'm about.
Good looking dude.
Good looking.
One of the best looking football coaches.
On that note, we got Jets at the Cardinals. Jets at the Cardinals. They got the Cards at +1.5.
Jets and Cardinals. Cards +1.5. I like Rodgers.
Oh,
Like Rodgers in this one.
you guys.
Did you see that Garrett Wilson catch? That was nasty.
It was freaking nasty.
Adams and Wilson, I think they're getting on track. So they're on the road.
The Jets suck.
I said this last week with the
The Jets
Bears.
suck.
I said this last week with the Bears. It's not a hostile environment in Arizona. Me and you, we both put a lot of focus and importance on who the home team is when they're close games like this.
Yep.
I like the Jets, man. I like the Jets just because I don't think it's going to be a hostile environment, even though the Cardinals are at home. Aaron is getting it going. I think there was a little bit of panic there, but give me the Jets.
Okay.
I'm still a believer in Aaron. I got to see more. I said that a few weeks ago. Got to see more, but I think they're starting to get in a groove. Just everybody hold your water.
Hold your water out there. Hold your water. Okay. Jets it is. Next, we got the Bills at Indianapolis Colts. They have the Colts at +3.5.
Oh, I'm taking the Bills.
Go Bills, huh?
Bills. They had a weird game against the Dolphins last week. That was a strange game. Dolphins looked really, really good.
They
Bills
always
came all the way back.
Dolphins.
Yeah.
Every year, they're going to beat the Dolphins, and the Dolphins are going to turn around.
Division game, so it was naturally close. They found a way to win. I think the Bills got something right now, and I always say that, and then they just go out and lay an egg.
Yep.
Give me Josh Allen. 3.5. That's a tough spread, but I think they will cover. Give me the Bills.
All right.
They let me down last week. That was one of my 4 losses. They let me down last week, but I think Josh is gonna figure it out.
All right. I think he figured it out last week, though.
Well, the other thing is the Colts with Joe Flacco. He looked old on Sunday Night Football.
He's 112.
But I think Joe is still a good quarterback. But you see that with Peyton Manning. You see that with Tom Brady, where it's like they know what they have to do, but they can't get the ball there, or they overcompensate.
Right.
It's almost like and Joe Flacco, very underrated with how big his arm is, especially when he was with the Ravens. Like, dude had a freaking cannon. Like, not a lot of people thought that, but dude could hurl the ball. You're seeing that velocity and stuff like that off the ball. I think he's a little. I mean, he came off the couch, so it's hard to. Last year with the Browns, so it's hard to fault the guy, but you can see there's been a drop off. Whether they put Richardson back in, I don't know. So I think there's just a little bit of uncertainty
I would put
there.
Richardson back in, but they're going to do that.
I think they're going to do that eventually. I don't know if the starter's been named yet, but regardless, give me the Bills. Indoor stadium. I think that offense will cook.
Okay.
With Josh Allen.
It's a good pick. I feel good about that one. And then the game of the week. We got the Lions in Houston against the Texans.
Is this the 4th game?
That night?
Oh, yeah, we've got, okay.
We already had 4. This is the 5th game.
Okay. I don't whatever. Let her rip. Sorry.
They got the Lions -3.5.
Against the Texans?
Against the Texans.
Texans at home?
Texans at home.
There's something weird going on with the Texans, man. Like they're just not. Maybe they'll get the momentum later on in the season, but
They've kind of dipped,
and they just don't.
I think they only have 2 losses.
The explosiveness on the offense with C.J. Stroud, Tank Dell. They lost Devon Diggs for the year. This just feels like a vanilla type season for the Texans, and I expected a lot from Houston this year, so it's a little bit disappointing. Give me the Lions. And tell somebody, I mean, the Vikings have been really the only team. I mean, the Bucs beat them at home early with Baker, and the Vikings took them to the end. But other than that, they've really just dominated. And until I see a team match that level of physicality with the Lions, I'll eat the points and take Detroit on the road.
Okay. Well, that's my take to the bank. Texans beat Detroit.
Really?
Yep. They figure it out. They find the mojo, find the magic. They beat Detroit. Detroit needs to lose. They need to lose. They need to lose.
All right, you ready for my take it to the bank?
Michigan beats Indiana by 2 tons.
No, and I'm actually not going to that game as fired up as I was with that Michigan-Indiana game.
He's going to go to the Colorado-Texas Tech game.
Take this to the bank. Georgia beats
Really? That's your take it to the bank?
Okay.
Everyone's saying Georgia beat Ole Miss.
Okay. All right.
I'll tell you what. I'll change my take it to the bank.
What?
Ole Miss beats Georgia this weekend.
That's who you're taking to the bank?
I'll take it to the
bank. An audible. So do you still think the Texans beat the Lions?
I still think they'll beat the Lions.
Okay. But your take it to the bank is that
Ole Miss upsets Georgia. Why not, baby? You only live once, baby. I'm tired of Georgia. Tired of the narrative. 2 picks, two picks.
All right.
He's going to throw.
You know what? I said I wasn't going to go to this game, but I'm going to go to this game. Indiana beats Michigan by more than 20 points.
You got no.
Oh, I'm drunk.
Oh, my gosh. Wow. That's a bold.
Indiana beats Michigan by more than 20.
By more than 20.
I'm going to look at what the spread is on that game.
No. You called it.
Yeah, I called it.
Okay.
I'm staying with it. I'm just interested how far off I am.
Is it 11.5? Did I see that or am I dreaming? I think that would be high. Maybe it's like 6.
It'll be interesting. 14 and a half.
Okay, 14.5.
14 and a half. Indiana beats Michigan by more than 20 points on Saturday.
Holy smokes.
They're going to end this facade for you. And can you, if Indiana beats Michigan by more than 20, can you just let Michigan go?
I'll let him go for the rest of the season.
Like, you can still watch the games.
Yeah, but I will let him go. I will be done believing. I will quit on my team.
That's what I want. That's what I want to hear. I want to see you quit.
I will quit on my team. I will quit on my team. But if Michigan wins, you're not wearing your magic mic next week on the podcast.
I am not.
Yes, you are.
That.
He is.
I am not doing that.
Why? I thought you were so confident that Indiana wins.
I am confident, but I'm not confident in my body.
I'm wearing your 30s, Jake. That's just kind of how it goes.
How about this? How about if Michigan beats Indiana, I will chant "Go Pack Go."
This is a diehard Skull Vikings fan, and
I will chant "Go Pack Go." I will chant "Go Pack Go" 3 times enthusiastically if Michigan beats Indiana. Is that good enough?
I like it.
I don't need you guys seeing my man boobies next.
I'm thinking, hey, for our audience to really see the vulnerability. Sometimes we're gonna have this connection.
Let me tell you something. I will literally vandalize Indiana's football stadium. That happens.
Oh my gosh.
Which, speaking of that, real quick, we're gonna review the cigars and then we're gonna say goodbye here shortly. Did you see what happened in that Clemson game last week?
Them losing to Louisville?
No, them gabbing that really bad call, and then the fans were throwing stuff on the field. I told you that would happen.
It's the third time it's happened this year.
I told
it happened again with Ohio State and somebody else. Ohio State, Oregon, I think.
They made such a huge miss with that Texas-Georgia game.
They ruined it.
And if you don't know what I'm talking about, they had a bad call on the field. Texas fans threw stuff on the field. They ended up overturning the call. Now, you have fans thinking that throwing stuff on the field is going to alter a call.
Yep. It's a new strategy.
It's so bad.
Yep.
It's so bad. Anyway, I just want to make sure you'd seen that and seen how right I was.
Yeah, thank you.
Whatever.
So I'm going to review my cigar.
Go for it.
It's a great cigar.
We rank it out of 1 through 5 bands. One cigar bands, 1 through 5 bands. 1 being we wouldn't touch it. 5 would be that we would seek it out, go out, look out, and buy it immediately.
It's a 4 until you get to about right here.
Really?
Yeah, there are some cigars that, man, they have a great flavor up into a point. And that 4, I mean, my gosh, bro, it's a great smooth cigar. Definitely your medium smoke, good flavors, good notes in there. But when you get to here about this much, it goes bitter and the flavor completely dissipates and goes into like I'm smoking ash. And so I'll say 4 up until here. Once you get to here, like a 1.5 points. Man.
Really?
Yeah.
So if you combine that,
What is the thing?
that's
Not
like a
everybody
that's like a
smokes
2.
beyond this. You know what
Yeah.
I mean, how often are you smoking beyond this?
Well, I mean, where was the band on the cigar? I mean, usually you smoke just a little bit.
Yeah.
For me personally, I just go a little bit below the band.
Yeah. Yeah, that's about normal for me is when I stop smoking unless it doesn't do that. So
So what's your overall score?
I'm going to go 4.
You gonna stick with 4, even
gonna
though
go
it
4.
tastes like absolute garbage when you get
Right now, but I wouldn't smoke it anymore. Like I'm like to my end. You know, like I already like was finishing up the cigar, and that right there was just the yep, you're done. So I don't know, man. You always make me contradict myself when I'm on my own rating. Hey, man, just stick with your heart. Follow your heart.
Follow your heart.
One of the worst pieces of advice you could ever.
That is true. Never follow your heart.
Yeah, you know the Bible says that it's the most wicked or deceitful of all things.
Yes.
Then it goes on to say, but who really knows how evil it is? So I'm following my heart today. Buy the cigar. Buy the cigar. It's a good cigar. It's probably a $10, $12 cigar. You'll enjoy the smoke. Go to a bonfire, have it with your buddies. Great cigar up until that last quarter of it.
Okay.
So
So
3 3/4 bands out of 5.
3 3/4 bands.
Yep.
That's what your score is. So you are coming below 4.
Yeah.
You always do the halves and quarters.
Just
stuff
give
like
us your
that.
rating. Tell us again what you're
All right.
smoking.
I am smoking a Fuente Don Carlos. Okay. I'm in a really good mood today.
Write that down, people.
I'm
You're going to go 5, ain't you?
really tempted to.
Boy, here we go.
I'm really tempted to.
Go for it. Come on, baby.
So this is a Fuente Don Carlos. They're not super expensive. You can get them off Holtz for like $15. So it's a little bit more expensive. They're not in that $20 to $30 stick. But man, they're really, I mean, this is a really good cigar. That Padron 1926 that I smoked a couple weeks ago, is it as good as that? No. But when you factor in price point, this is phenomenal. That La Aroma de Cuba that I smoked last week, this crushes it. Crushes it. Both of them, that cigar that I smoked last week, that was like I gave that a 3 out of 5. And I mean, if I gave it a 2 out of 5, I wouldn't be like disappointed in myself. So, I mean, that was just not a cigar that I liked. Because it says it was medium full, and it wasn't. And again, that was the
False advertising, and that's wrong.
Well, and I've smoked La Aroma de Cuba before, and they have really some really good cigars.
Yep.
But that one, that special that it's in the yellow band, that special that I smoked just wasn't very good. I mean, I could have gave it a 2. I felt a little bit, sad if I would have gave it a 2, so I gave it a 3. I'm going to go ahead and give this a 5. Wow. And I don't want to be the guy that just hands out 5s all the time. But for the money, this is really good. It's got a little bit of, like, the wrapper is a little bit sweet, which I like, because then once you get the tobacco and the smoke, that balances it out. So it's almost like a sweet and savory type combo, which I really enjoy. It says it's a medium, but it's got more flavor than that Aroma de Cuba that I smoked last week. So it's like this is a good all around cigar for the price point. I'm gonna give it a 5. I'm gonna give it a 5 bands.
Wow.
Go find a Fuente Don Carlos and buy it.
Wow.
If you see one, buy it.
You've heard it, folks. You've heard it. Huge. Big time rating.
Yep. So those are my 2 5s. You have not given a 5 yet. I'm waiting for you. I know you're testing the entire Gurkha line.
I am. There is one that I'm excited to smoke. It actually is my favorite Gurkha, and I've smoked several of them, and I will be reviewing that, and I will give you probably a 5 and 2/3 cigar
A 6 out of 5.
Yeah. out of 5. So we will be reviewing that one soon.
Okay. That's exciting. So I gave a Padron 1926 a 5, and I'm now giving the Fuente Don Carlos, I think this is a Robusto, a 5 out of 5. Very good cigar. If you are just building your humidor, if you don't have this in your humidor, go out and buy it. It's, for the money, probably one of the best cigars you can buy.
Perfect. Sounds like a plan, Stan.
That's my take it to the bank. Final thoughts?
That's your take it to the bank. You can't keep changing it. Okay?
If my take it to the bank was that Don Carlos Fuente, really good.
You will love it. Take it to the bank.
Taking the bank.
Okay, cool.
Any final thoughts?
No, just remember we got Indiana winning. We got Ole Miss winning. We got Texas Tech winning. We got Vanderbilt winning. He's got Vanderbilt winning. I got LSU beating Bama. And we got Bills winning. We got Jets winning. We got Commanders winning. We got the Bengals winning. And you've got the Lions. I've got the Texans.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm excited. We got some great games.
Great
Weekend of sports.
Turn off the news channel and turn on sports.
That's right, baby.
All right. That's some good advice. Let that election go.
Let's let it go.
Time to move on.
Time to move on.
Don't got to worry about it till the inauguration in January anyway.
Yeah. Hopefully nothing goes down.
Hopefully nothing goes
my
down.
God.
So until then, we'll see you guys next week. And remember, get into your humidor today and go light up and watch some sports.